Hey there, welcome back to day number 3 of the Make More Friends Challenge. So today we're going to be talking about one of the things that is going to be absolutely essential if you want to make more friends. And that is, you're going to have to be vulnerable. You're going to have to put yourself out there. And that can feel really scary. I know, I remember like sweating as I was about to make the most vulnerable post, I feel like, of my life in a Facebook group filled with like 49,000 women in my local area, some of whom were actually acquaintances of mine. And in this post, I mentioned that I was a 44-year-old mom of 3 kids, successful business owner, and yet I don't have a local friend group. And I feel alone. And I owned up to it that I hadn't made the time and all of that, but I was really feeling lonely. And I shared a little bit about myself and, who I am and what matters to me. And a lot of people have said, wow, I can't believe you put your name out there instead of just posting anonymously. And truth be told, had I thought about posting anonymously, maybe I would have done that, but I didn't. I just let it all hang out. And, right before I hit post, which by the way, probably took me an hour because I wrote it and then I just walked away from it and I looked at it and I read it and I reread it and my heart is racing. And really what was happening at that time is I was bumping up against the fear barrier, right? The fear barrier of what's going to happen next. What's on the other side of that barrier? Is it that I'm about to get rejected? Is it that I'm just going to have humiliated myself in front of 49,000 women in my local area? And I've got to tell you, my inner critic was running fierce that night. You're going to look like a fool. You're going to embarrass yourself. You're going to hurt people's feelings that know you because now all of a sudden they're going to have thought that they were your friend and now you're saying you don't have any friends. What's everyone else going to think? Now you really are going to look like a loser because you just told everyone you don't have friends. Now you're like, who wants to be friends with a person that doesn't have friends, right? So I had all these things and my inner critic was just firing at me as I was standing there at the fear barrier. But there's one thing that I have learned to do over the years through my personal growth journey, and that was to feel the fear and do it anyway. Even though I'm an inspirational speaker, spoken to an audience of 5,000 people, 5,000 entrepreneurs, just days before I gave birth to my twins. Super scary moment, right? Felt the fear and did it anyway. I have really accustomed myself now to being comfortable being uncomfortable. All right. And it's all about stepping outside of your comfort zone. There's this meme you may have seen on social media. It's got like a little circle and it says, it has a little dot on the outside and it says, this is your comfort zone. And then this is where all the magic happens out here. And I have found that to be so true. There is a quote that I love and quoted it in my book, Unstoppable Influence. It's by Basil King and it says, be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. For 4.5 years, I wasn't doing anything and I wasn't stepping outside of my comfort zone. And I allowed my inner critic to keep me playing small when it came to the friend department. I allowed my inner critic to tell me that I didn't belong. I allowed my inner critic to keep me from going to events thinking that I just wouldn't fit in, or how horrible it is to go to these sorts of events because, I always end up feeling really awkward and insecure. And it wasn't until I finally put myself out there that all these amazing women came out of the woodwork and I started First of all, realizing I wasn't alone. I'm not the only one that feels lonely. I'm not the only one that felt like it was hard making friends as an adult. Not only that, I started actually creating friendships and deeper friendships with women. We've seen each other multiple times, and that's a big part of it. And we'll talk about this in day number 4. But today I want to encourage you to be vulnerable. I want to encourage you to put yourself out there. I was just on a virtual gathering table meetup, and one of the women there was mentioning that anxiousness and excitement are really the same form of energy. And so it's really the same thing. It's just how are we phrasing it? How are we categorizing it? And so when you're putting yourself out there to make new friends, maybe it's you walking into that local gathering table and you have those butterflies. Don't think of it as anxiousness. Think of it as excitement to meet the women that are waiting for you at the table. There are so many stories of women that have told me, I sat out in my car waiting, like I was trying to psych myself up to come in to this gathering because I didn't even know what to expect. But something inside of me said I just had to go in there. And so I'm so glad that I did. I've never had anyone tell me yet that they regretted their decision to bust through that fear barrier and get to the other side. Because here's the interesting thing. When you step outside of your comfort zone in this regard, it's going to be easier to step outside of your comfort zone in other regards. Does it mean that you're not going to feel the fear? No. You're always going to have, your body is always going to have that automated response. There's nothing wrong with you. It's completely a natural physiological process that happens to all of us. It doesn't matter how many times I've spoken on stage to thousands of people. I still feel those like little butterflies, and I just categorize it as excitement for getting to share my message. I still feel butterflies when I arrive at a restaurant and I'm setting up everything for the local table. I have this inner critic is telling me, man, this is a time that everyone's going to flake out on you and you're going to be all by yourself stood up. And I just felt that fear and I did it anyways. This is why I send out emails right before girls' night events and things that we're doing locally. And I will tell the women, do not bail. You're going to want to bail. Do not bail. You will not regret it. You will regret bailing. You will not regret showing up. So I want to encourage you today to be willing to put yourself out there. Be willing to tell us more about yourself. Be willing to share what's important to you in a friendship. Be willing to get out of that car and walk into that restaurant feeling the nerves anyways, knowing that everyone else at that table feels the exact same way. When you get used to feeling the fear and doing it anyway, man, a whole world of possibilities opens up for you. Remember, be bold and mighty forces will come to your aid. Thanks so much for watching, and your challenge today is to step outside of your comfort zone in some way. Maybe it's posting in the Unstoppable Influence Academy platform and introducing yourself if that's what makes you nervous. Maybe being vulnerable is following up with someone from a gathering table event that you went to and just say, hey, I really enjoyed our time together. Want to go grab coffee? That's putting yourself out there. That's being vulnerable. Maybe it's following up with someone and saying, hey, just checking in with you, but you're nervous. What if they don't respond? These are the things that we can be doing to make more friends. Putting ourselves out there, whether it's going to an event or whether it's following up after an event, whether it's introducing yourself to the group. There are so many different ways that you can feel that fear and do it anyway. So that's your challenge today. I look forward to seeing you in day number 4. Bye.